here at Road America. Over the halfway point of the season, it's been a very, very interesting series up to this point. We'll have 23 drivers in the A lobby today due to the low numbers this week due to, again, outside events, and obviously that has affected some of the drivers who are competing in our series. Nonetheless, we must let the show go on. And if we pull up the ranking system right now, Jim Supra is your points leader with 1,210 points. He leads ESV Scots in second overall with 1,204 points. That's a 6 points difference between first and seconds. FRF Toys, after a rough start to the season, he currently sits third with 1,122 points. He is 88 points back. Then fourth, ESV Breeze with 1,120 points. He is 90 points back. And rounding out the top five is SSR Bobberts with 1,063 points. He is about 147 points back. The first driver in is R8 Remix, still eligible in 16th. And right behind him, RDE Godspeed, who is not with us here today. And unfortunately, that will make him ineligible throughout the remainder of the season in regards to being able to contend for money at the end of the season. So that means Diamond Man would be the next one in line to finish that final slot. People like TGM Brentward, ESV Delete, who actually is ineligible, FBR Jamster, and some others outside the top 16, still looking to try to get their punch right into that final few spots going into week number 10. Obviously, we still got some weeks ahead of us until that point. $1,000 on the line for three top drivers, a $100 bonus for overall points in the season. And it's been a very wild one. None of our races have been dull this season. Some of the drivers believe today will be a little bit calmer at the type of track we're racing at. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And we're going to find out. Can Lightning get back up on top after coming back into racing form? After being a week gone a couple weeks ago. These guys in the top four, ladies and gentlemen, have all won at least one race this year in this season of this series. Lightning has 2, Scotson has 1, Toys has 1, and Jim Supra has 1. And these are the top 4 guys that are expected to contend at the end. Now, Lightning, being that he missed a week, he's currently sitting 8th overall in the point standings, but it's still eligible. So obviously, if he wants to get that extra $100 bonus, he's got to put a lot of work in these next 3-4 weeks to see if he can catch back up. It's going to be a very tall task, very difficult to do, especially if nobody in front of him also misses a race. But here we go. We're starting to double up cars, and we are getting ready to go into lap number 1. And now that we have made the entire pace lap around the field, there will be no restarts from here on out. THR Lighting, ESV Scotson, your front 2 on the front row, and it's green flag here at Road America. Lightning from the inside, side by side with Scotson, out of turn number 1. Scotson with a great one off of 1. He moves up to that front spot. Can he get it though? Supra, he goes from the inside back to the outside. Toys right underneath him. Meanwhile, Bobberson and ESV Breeze not too far behind him. And leading lap number 1, it's ESV Scotson. Lightning has fallen off of second position now. That moves Supra up to the second spot. Meanwhile, FRF Toys looks to the inside now as well. Toys looking to take that third spot away from Lightning. Lightning not backing off on the challenge just yet. They're side by side coming out of the corner. Very aggressive driving by the 2 top drivers in the series right now. And look at this, side by side coming out of the corner. Toys looks like he's got the run, but he's still side by side with Lightning. Bobbert's sitting right there behind him in the 5th spot, looking to pounce, looking to make their move. Lightning and Toys still side by side as they go into the chicane. Oh, but they jumped just a little bit right there. They're still side-by-side coming out of the chicane. Side-by-side action here at lap number 1. Meanwhile, Scottson and Jim Supra, they have taken off, and there goes Toys. Moves up to that 3rd spot, so Lightning going from 1st to 4th in 1 lap, but the race battle for 3rd is not over just yet. Lightning back to the inside of Toys. Side-by-side as they go through the S section. Heading into the final corner, Bobbers looks to the inside, unable to make the move. Bobbers, though, goes to the inside, side-by-side with FRF Toys. And Lightning just trying to get away from that little battle you have with Toys. Toys under fire right now with SSR Bobbers as we ride in the rear camera view of Lightning. We can see the action behind LMP, Yem, and Amoeba. Shane, Pariah IG, the top 10 from 4th to 10th. They're duking it out. Toys able to get a little bit of distance on Bobbers now as they go into turn 2. Breeze goes to the inside of Amoeba right there, not able to get the job done. Let's hop onto the rear bumper of Bobbers right now as ESV Breeze is under fire of Yem and Amoeba. Amoeba and Yem side by side going down the mid straightaway. Breeze cuts off the pass for Amoeba as he defends that 6th place spot right there. Meanwhile, Pariah IG goes from 10th to 8th just in that one turn. Let's hop on with LMP Yem. Yem under fire still. He's battling it out with Pariah IG, but Pariah is getting passed by SSR Shane as it goes through the carousel. RDE Jansen sitting up there in the 12th spot with Unleashed IG back in 13th. They're trying to make things happen right now. Amos Huracan, he's still sitting there outside the top 10, sitting there in that 11th spot. Now it looks like the racing is finally settling down a little bit. Let's pull up the race map and see how the field is spread out. And nothing too crazy. It looks like everybody's been doing pretty well so far at the start of this race. But we'll come back and check out these guys in a little bit. Let's hop on with Jim Supra right now, sitting in that 2nd spot. Still sitting behind ESV Scottson's last week's winner. Scottson looking to go back-to-back weeks here, but a lot of work to do still in this race. Supra looks like he got a good run through 1. He's got to the rear bumper of Scottson right there as they head into turn 2. Supra trying to get one of those special weeks back where he can get up to the front and try to stay out there. He's been phenomenal this season. He's seen the lead many times. He's gotten the job done once in week number 1 at Magello. But right now, he's been finishing a lot 2nd and 3rd place spots, and you know he wants to get back onto the top spot. So he's going to do everything he can today as they're super close in the point standings right now between these two drivers. Now remember, the points do not matter going into week 10. The points matter for the overall point system at the end of the season. So after week 10, whoever is the overall points champion will get that $100 bonus. But the points matter going into week 9 because the top 16 drivers want to make that show. It's a 2-hour race, championship race. Not only is the title on the line, but the $1,000 prize pool as well for the top 3 finishers of that week. So a lot of things matter, and these two are currently battling for those top points for the bonus right now. Obviously, FRF Toys is in the mix as well, but he's about 88 points back. He's going to have one of them special kind of runs late in the season. And obviously, with Supra and Scottson not missing a week so far and not having any major damaging finishes, it's going to be a tough task for Toys. So right now, the overall points battle for that $100 bonus is between Supra and Scottson, and they're definitely racing like it right now. My chat up, so if you want to see anybody on the racetrack, you just let me know throughout this race. We'll take a good look and see how other drivers are doing. But ooh, Supra got to the rear quarter panel. ESV Scottson just a little bit, got a little loose, was able to hold on to the car. Meanwhile, THR Lightning trying to rebound after that tough start for him. He's got FRF Toys not too far behind him as well. And you can see Lightning and Toys kind of catching up to these guys up front. Now, obviously, with the little battling between Scottson and Super, that's going to do a lot of help for these two guys. Meanwhile, Breeze is going after Bobberts for that 5th spot right now. Bobberts, who doesn't normally drive prototypes, or is very not as comfortable in the prototype, has done a phenomenal job this season in growing throughout the series. He had a very tough first couple of weeks, finished 18th, I believe, back in week number 1, which was very disappointing for him. We talked to him after the race. Wasn't too happy about, but has improved steadily every week. And ESV Breeze, 4th overall in the point standings right now, is doing a fantastic job as well. He's been very tough in the long stretches of races so far this season. And look at this, Yem and Shane, they're back there making things happen as they're cutting up a little bit through the field. We go further back, AMS Huracan, he's dropped back to the 12th spot right now. Huracan, who's had one of the toughest race seasons out of most of these drivers in the field right now. He's had extremely tough luck. He's had some great qualifyings, but some issues have happened to where it really affected him. And, you know, obviously he's just trying to make sure he gets his nose into that final week, have a chance to go after some big money. And obviously he's doing a fantastic job running inside the top 12 right now. So keep an eye on him. We go further in the back of the field with FLA Feedy right now. He's battling with his teammate for the 13th spot. That's FLA Red One. Meanwhile, RDE Yanzum right behind him. And AMSB Shadow, who started tail of the field of this one, he's already moved up about 6-7 spots. So he's already cut up into almost the top 15, sitting there in the 16th spot. Meanwhile, QLS Gladio still eligible for money, trying to keep himself in contention for the final week of the race season, sitting there in that 17th spot. And RDE Yanzum now, he's going to work on FLA Feedy. Yanzum gets to the rear bumper of Feedy, makes a little mistake that gives B Shadow the pass right there. Yanzum not backing down just yet, but he's got QLS Claudio to the inside of him, and Claudio dips down low, looks to make the pass. They bump, they touch, but Claudio not able to get the job done. RDE Yanzum able to hold on to that 16th spot. Meanwhile, AMSB Shadow still cutting up through the race field. Driver who missed qualifying this week, and some of the reserves were not able to make the show today due to a couple of drivers missing. But nonetheless, B Shadow is making everything count, because B Shadow also knows that he's still in contention for that week 10 top 16 spots, and right now he knew that he had to be here today. Very fortunate to make the race with that, and glad to see he's doing well rebounding from it. Meanwhile, we go back up to the race leaders here, and we'll ride with Scottson. He's leading this field, and THR Lightning and FRF Toys is now here to battle with him. You gotta wonder if it's Lightning though, how tough that start was for him. How much better is this car in the long run? They all know they have to make a pit stop some point of this race. When? We do not know. And these 4 drivers all season long have been duking it out. I mean, whether that was back at Nürburgring, Mugello, Catalunya, Dubai, these guys have not given an inch, and Lightning was able to take over that 2nd spot from Jim Supra right there. Supra drops down to the 3rd spot. Obviously that benefits Scottson a little more as it stands in points. But Lightning doesn't care about their points battle. He just cares about his right now. Obviously he missed a week, and he knows anything can happen, everything matters. FRF Toys, who's been more of the, I would say, the more patient one of the 4 this year. He's been kind of quietly sitting behind everyone, waiting for mistakes to happen, waiting for those special moves to where he knows that if they make that mistake, he can pounce on it. And he's been able to do it. He just hasn't been able to get the job done a few times this year. And right now, obviously, in contention to making that happen again. So we'll see what happens as this race stretches out. Bobberts and Breeze, they're still duking it out. Meanwhile, SSR Shane had moved up to the 7th spot in front of Yem. Pariah IG and Unleash IG, 2 teammates, 9th and 10th. So Unleash has moved up quite a bit as well. Unleash started back there, I believe, about 16th to start this race, so he's been slowly progressing throughout the race as well. Here comes Jim Supra trying to make a run on Lightning. Now here comes a concern for Toys. Toys is actually a little bit off pace right now. He's a little bit away from the draft. The draft, I'm not sure if it's going to be that much of a factor, but these long straights, you got to think that it would. So right now, Toys doesn't want to lose too much ground as Lightning looks to the inside of Scott's and not able to make that space work after they come off turn 2. Jim Super right on the rear bumper of Lightning. And you can see how this gap between 4th, 5th, and 6th, Lightning looks to, but look at Supra trying to make the outside pass, can't do it, gets caught in the sand, caught in the grass right there. Lightning loses a little ground from Scottson because of that. Because of all that brings Toys right back into the mix of things. I mean, this is the stuff that we really expect to see. I mean, it's not that, it's not that we don't know these guys are that good. It's that they're just that even, and the way that they've been racing these last 4 or 5 weeks prior to week 6 here, it's really shown how the gap is really not been that dramatically big compared to other series we've seen in the past where you see a couple of cars being the head horses of the race. I mean, we've had 4 or 5 drivers week in and week out. Obviously, ESV Kart's not with us today, unfortunately, due to other circumstances. And obviously, he's been another big factor this year as well. A driver that we've seen this year show a lot of promise to compete with these top 4 guys currently leading the race is ESV Breeze. He's shown signs of life back at Nürburgring where he was very, very good in the long stretches of the race. Actually, when we watched Breeze at Nürburgring, it was very tough for him to keep up early in the runs, but his car was kind of set up, it looked like, for the long-term aspect. He would always be there near the end to making it happen. And then when we saw the pit cycle happen, the same thing happened. So we know Breeze has the car to do it. We know Bobberts is another driver that has potential to be one of the guys to get the job done in week 10 as well. I mean, the guys in the top 6 right now are probably the ones you're going to want to keep an eye on going into the final week, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be doing a lot of heavy driving. And just to remind everybody, the top 10 overall in the point standings in week 10, they get inverted. So it's going to be a tough spin for some of these guys, and obviously, if you're 10th overall in the points right now, you might not want to sandbag, but at the same time, it's going to be nice for you. People are concerned that, that the reverse grid, they're not going to be able to, you got 2 hours of racing, and that's a lot of racing to make up for lost time, especially some of these top guys are so fast and so good, but there's so many good drivers in this field, and it's going to be super interesting to watch going into that final week at Daytona under the lights to see how good that is really going to be. We hop back up to the race lead right now with THR Lightning tracking down ESV Scottson. Scottson defending right now for his life against THR Lightning. Meanwhile, Jim Supra is also defending against FRF Toys. Like we might have lost a driver. An R8 Remix has DNF out of this race. Not sure what had happened to Remix right there. He was last week's driver of the day, actually. He battled through the field and got into the top 10. Not sure if he had an accident that maybe set him back and maybe decided to put the car in the garage, or maybe he had a disconnect. We've been pretty deep into this race so far, and so far it's been so good. But there goes Lightning to the inside with Scottson. They're duking it out, side by side battling. This is the stuff you want to see if you're Supra and Toys. You want to see these two fighting it out in the front. I'll bring them right back into the mix. And if you're just tuning in, this is week number 6 of the MEA Prototype Challenge here at Road America. Right now, ESV Scottson, last week's race winner, currently leading this race right in front of pole sitter THR Lightning, who fell back about 3-4 spots almost in the first lap of the race, has rebounded ever since. Jim Supra sitting there in the 3rd spot right now. He is the current points overall leader. And then FRF Toys, who's won a race this year and has shown very great signs of being one of the top contenders going into the final week. He's currently sitting 4th, and just like weeks prior to this, these guys have not given each other an inch, and there has been no significant driver out there on the racetrack that has shown superiority over the other. Now, Lightning's shown that he's had a lot of promise, a lot of big runs, and a lot of good tools under the bag as he's fought his way back up to Supra and Scottson, now running behind Scottson. I think everyone thinks that Lightning's the guy to beat, but these 4 guys are just phenomenal. They've shown it week in and week out, and we've seen that back at Nürburgring, how beautiful that race. That had to be one of the most amazing races we've seen here in MEA, and we've seen in quite some time. And we've had some fantastic races this year. We had the Indy 500, the annual one spin-off, where Coca Gamer was able to hold off a hard-charging Duke and Scottson. We had an amazing Daytona 500 as well, where TGM Mod Race was able to hold off 3 SSR drivers going to the outside trying to pass them. And then obviously that race at Nürburgring, these guys in this series was spectacular and a lot of fun to watch. I think one of the highlights of MEA was last year in the 2nd season of the MEA GT Championship Series. This is one of our biggest series in MEA. And going to week 10, at that time it was Arox Merck, who's formerly known as now Jim Supra, was battling with SSR Bobbers, and Adler Girl IG, who at that time was BM Adler Girl before they had changed their name, was progressively getting better throughout the series. She started in the B lobbies early on in the year, got better and better and better. And the thing about that whole championship week, it was actually the championship race at Indianapolis where Adler Girl was able to get to the front, hold off SSR Bobbers, and at this time Jim Supra, but back then it was Arox Merck, and she was able to hold them off for the rest of the race, which was very, very spectacular to watch. It was a lot of fighting. So a lot of those races remind me of how these 4 drivers have been just battling it out every single week. And I mean, but those times they were just one moment's here, one moment's there. Now it's every week. We have not seen a race week since Mugello in week number 1 where you could say somebody was just outclassing the field, because none of these guys have yet, and that's the beautiful part of this series. It's been super competitive, and that's what we've loved to see here at MEA. As we got on with Jim Supra right now, Toys is really working Supra. Obviously, Supra's doing everything he can to stay in front of Toys right now. Toys is, we look back at week number 1 at Mugello. This was a very similar view. Toys was all over the rear bumper of Supra. Unfortunately, Toys ended up DCing in that race around the first quarter of the race, which obviously everyone thought Toys would have won that week. He had the fastest car in qualifying and was really hard charging Supra back at that time. So it's not an unfamiliar sight, but these guys, nose to tail, haven't been unfamiliar. Looks like we have a driver slowly entering the front stretch, and that is FVR Yuna. Something went wrong with Yuna's car. Not sure if we can beat them to the damage. It looks like he might have had some cosmetic damage, but nothing that we can really confirm. Let's go up to the battle between 9th and 10th with SSR Shane and Pariah IG. Pariah IG, another guy that's been super interesting to watch this year. He's another driver that was in the B lobby earlier in the season, has slowly progressed week in and week out. One of his best races was actually, I believe, week 3 or 4 when we ran Nürburgring. and he was running inside the top 10. He got chased down by Cart Soleil, but I believe he finished 7th overall, which is one of his best finishes on the season. And Pariah has shown that he's been not a slouch, as they both take that final corner way wide, but he shows it to be a very tough competitor out on the racetrack week in and week out. Obviously in contention at the end of the season to make things happen. So same with SSR Shane. Shane has not yet had a really a bad race this season, other than I think Catalunya, which that race was very tough for a lot of people. I guess from a driver standpoint, it was extremely laggy. So we're not sure how that really all planned out. Another driver that's not eligible for week 10, or well, not Huracan, but we're gonna ride behind him. Lisa G. It looks like he's letting Huracan know, hey, I'm sorry, or something, as Huracan goes a little wide off of 2. Lisa G has been fun to watch as he's been with us on and off this year in this series. And pretty much after 11th, there's not a lot of guys out there that will really be in contention here. Now, LMP and MEA, this is very interesting, actually. MEA was up there inside the top 10 at one point as he's duking it out with AMSB Shadow and FLA Feedy. Now, AMSB Shadow has started 23rd in this race. There's 22 drivers still on the racetrack. MEA goes way wide off of the right hanger right there, was able to save the car while QLS Claudio moves up. But AMSB Shadow has moved up to 14th. He's moved up 11 positions since the start of this race. Or, I'm sorry, 9 positions. I don't know. You guys correct me. I'm not able to keep track of it today. It's been a long week for me. I'm actually getting ready to move to Florida in a couple of weeks. And it's been a very stressful time, so just trying to keep track of everything. Meanwhile, QLS Claudio was able to get to the rear bumper of LMP Amoeba, who's been falling back into this race. And it looks like another driver has entered pit road, I believe. And it is. Sometimes it doesn't register correctly. But ESV Breeze and ESV Scottson have decided to go into pit road this lap. That would leave THR Lightning out on the racetrack with Jim Supra and Toys as we hop on with the second place battle between Supra and Toys. Now the question is, was this a mistake by ESV Scottson? We do not know, because obviously Lightning was right there on the rear bumper. Can they make it around another lap or two? Not sure, but it looks like Lightning's going to see if he can try to undercut him through pit road. Toys, patient as Toys is, he's still there, still running behind him, not trying to get overly aggressive. Honestly, the most aggressive we've seen Toys this year was at Nürburgring. We talk about Nürburgring so much, but that race had so much to offer between these guys. I mean, it was back and forth battling, lead changing on and off. They were too wide between all 4 of them at one point in the race, side-by-side action at one point the whole race. I mean, it was really incredible to see how these guys duked it out. And one of the big parts of that race was Toys leading and defending Lightning, and they were super aggressive against one another, which made that battle so interesting to watch, as Lightning looks like he's getting a little distance on these two. We should see the top 3 here go on the pit road, and they do just that. So let's hop on with ESV Scottson, as he's running with the mid-pack guys right now who have not pitted just yet. Let's see how Scottson comes out of this hole as we pull up the race map, and you can see all the drivers are going in the pit this lap. So ESV Scottson and ESV Breeze are the 2 that have elected to stay out on the racetrack. And here comes Scottson trying to get his race lead back. The THR Lightning get the job done. And oh my gosh. Toys comes out to the lead during pit cycle. But there goes Scottson to the inside of Toys. And just like that, Toys will go back to the 4th spot. And it looks like they decided to not let Forza affect the race. So, gentlemen right there, I would say the least, as they go right back in line with each other. What a scary moment for Scotts, and he did not know where to go. And he took his time, that's for sure. All the drivers have at least pitted once in this race. Yeah, they have all at least pitted once. I believe Yem's pitted 2. Yem's doing a very good job as well. He has, and he's actually gaining on ESV Breeze right now, who's not too far in front of him. Now, Breeze has lost a little ground on Bobberts since the start of the race. And honestly, I think that's been the matchup really this season when it comes down to who was Bobberts more compatible with on the racetrack in regards of skill and closeness. Breeze has really been that guy, and Breeze has had some really great moments this season, showing real, like we said earlier, real signs of speed and life to be able to compete with guys that are currently in our top 4. So definitely something to keep an eye on as Yem is making his way through the field. We hop on with Supra, who's still duking it out with Toys for that 3rd spot overall. Lightning able to get to the rear bumper of Scottson once again. And there goes Lightning. Looks like Lightning's going for a pass on Scottson. Let's hop onto that real quick. Scottson to the outside, Lightning to the inside, the crossover. Lightning able to get the lead briefly. Can Scottson get it right back? They touch door to door. Scottson nips the nose off of Lightning right there and gets his lead right on back, but that brought Supra and Toys right back to the mix. Oh, but he clips the rear quarter panel of Scottson. That was Lightning who got into him. Supra able to capitalize. Toys trying to make the same thing happen. Supra to the inside. And he will take that 2nd spot away from Lightning. The Lightning throws the nose in, clips the quarter panel of Supra, almost taking him out as well. Meanwhile, Toys said, I'm just going to relax. I'm going to let you guys do your thing. Don't mind me. So Toys could have made a move, I would assume, but has been super patient. We talked about amongst the 4, he's definitely been one of the more patient ones of the group, and I would say Supra has been very patient as well throughout the season as well, but he has his moments of being very aggressive, and Toys looked like he looked, but Lightning said, no, I'm not giving you that lane. Take a moment here to thank our sponsors for today's race. Relaxation Spas out of the Netherlands, who's one of our primary sponsors this season. The SMX Race Team out of Mexico. We appreciate them as well. We'd also like to thank Track as Lightning goes for the 2nd position on the mid-straight now. And Lightning looks like he has a little more top end. But Super says no, as they get bumper to bumper, and that gave Toys room to get to the inside of Lightning. Oh, and Toys trying to throw the car inside. Guys are duking it out, and this is what Scottson wants to see. They want to see some battling behind him as Toys looks to the inside of Lightning. Lightning, oh, they made it almost 3 wide. Toys got a nice run going into the carousel, but just not able to get it finished there. It looks like Lightning might have a run. Toys to the outside of Supra. Toys bumping and banging with Supra. And just like that, Supra goes to fourth. Now Toys moves up to second. It's hard battling right there. Nothing intentional, nothing overly done. These guys are just really fighting hard, and that's beautiful to watch as SSR Bobberts is not too far off in the mist there. So you're able to see his car further into the back. Scottson still drifting away, getting away from these guys and trying to make things happen. Whoa, Lightning giving Toys a big bump as they go side by side to the final corner. Supra gets to the rear bumper of Toys. Oh, look at the push by Supra though. A big push by Supra. Out as Toys is able to get to that second spot, and Lightning and Supra bumper to bumper, door to door, as Lightning nips the grass just a little bit right there. Supra and Lightning duking it out real hard right now, battling for that third spot. Scottson getting away, and Toys able to break off this little battle briefly. Side-by-side action. Bobbert's watching on. ESV Breeze not too far behind him. And obviously we know LMPM is back there doing his thing as well. Supra getting a little deep into that corner, almost into the car. Lightning able to just run nice and smooth through there. I'm going to reach out to more sponsors. Andrew, SSR Zoom, is his name. I want to thank TGM Brentwood, SSR Bobberts, SSR Mayhem as well. We'd also like to thank SSR Yami, another one of our sponsors for the series. Obviously, without all these sponsors, we would not be able to do what we did. And also, we want to thank Wanderer's Icon as well for all of our sponsors who had participated in making this event what it is. And if you ever get across to them, you can always say thank you to them on Twitter, Xbox, whoever you might be able to get in touch with. I know SSR Shane is part of the Relaxation Spas company, as Supra and Lightning getting a little bit iffy right there in the final corner. Just superly battling hard, and Supra knows what's on the line right now as Toys has drifted off in this battle for third. And Lightning able to secure the third spot. That puts Supra back in fourth position. Supra, one of the youngest drivers in the field here today. Trying to take on the veterans of the group. But Supra drives like he's a veteran a lot of times. So I mean, he's been in the game for a few years and knows his stuff. Trying to take some of the best on the world drivers near him, around him, or across the world. FRF Toys, you know, we talked about the patience of Toys. As you can see, he's right there in front of Lightning, as Scottson is kind of out of our picture right in this view. But Toys' patience and persistence, you know, being patient has paid off pretty well for him. Now he moves up to the second spot. We knew he had one of the faster cars here amongst these guys, but now we get to find out what Toys has. And we're going to see if he can close that gap on Scottson. Let's go check on the rest of the field and see what's going on further in the back. A little nothing going on here. We can hop on with Claudio and see what's going on between 12th and I believe 16th. 15th, I'm sorry. You guys are just hanging out with each other right now, duking it out. 12th, 13th, and 14th. That's Feedy, Amoeba, Claudio, and B Shadow. Pariah had moved up to 8th after duking it out with Shane for a little while. We noticed that not too long ago. Amos Huracan, though, he's fallen back to the 16th spot. Not sure if something happened to him. I know that there's sometimes struggling moments for him in the last few weeks or so. So wonder if something happened or maybe he made a mistake. But LMPM is starting to close that gap with ESV Breeze. Let's hop on with this a little bit and see what's going on, as Yem's really gaining on Breeze right now. And Supra gets to the rear bumper of Lightning again, as they're looking like they're slowly catching up to Toys, who broke away from their battle not too long ago. They do have the speed on the straight lines because they are together, Lightning and Supra. How well they're working together throughout the other part of the racetrack, that's a whole different story. Handful laps to go as they cross the line to head into lap 21 here. Can't really tell if Toys is closing that gap on Scott's. If you're just tuning in, we've had a pretty good race up to this point between the top four, between Scottson, Toys, Lightning, and Supra, who have started distancing from each other after a little bumping and banging and a little bit of some hiccups, as Supra's trying to fight back with, oh man, did he get to the rear bumper of Lightning again going to the chicane. It's definitely hitting and banging out there. Not sure if these two are having a little bit of a dispute on the racetrack. They've been kind of going at it since 3 or 4 laps ago when all this occurred. But we're in week number 6 of the MEA Prototype Challenge here at Road America. We've had only one driver DC or get out of the race. That would be R8 Remix after having some complications earlier on. 22 drivers remain on the racetrack. No one is a lap down, and Scottson is looking to go back-to-back weeks after duking it out hard with Supra and Lightning, along with Toys, who has also been in the mix of things and is currently running second overall, trying to track him down at this current time, but it doesn't seem like a whole lot has changed. And beautiful run by Supra in turn number 1, right on the rear bumper of Lightning. We keep an eye on LMPM, who actually has been catching up to ESV Breeze. You know, we talk about Yem and how he's evolved as a driver, and he's been one of the consistent progressors in MEA that we've seen in the last year or two. And right now he is tracking him down, and you can see that gap, is really close. Now Pariah and Shane are still near one another, and actually there's a battle between Jansen and Unleash IG for the top 10 spot right now. Jansen, one of the regulars here at MEA. Series in, series out, always a contender. He's got a nice run on Unleash. Oh, I didn't mean do that. Back on that. I meant to do that. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Out for the 10th spot, Unleash, fending off RD Jansen. And Unleash has progressed very well throughout this race. One of the big movers of the race. They're a little bit more calmer back here than the guys up front as they go across the line on this lap. You can see Yuna right there, the first car in front of Scottson, who's the race leader, not too far away. Yuna had an issue earlier in the race, which made him pit. As Jansen's got to run, he's going to look to the inside of Unleashed now as they come off the final corner, coming across the stripe. It's Jansen looking to take over the 10th spot right here. And Jansen almost able to clear him. And Jansen does it. Unleash clips the grass, gets him a little loose going into the corner. And Jansen gets the job done, but Unleash looks like he's got to run. So Jansen looks like he finished the job and has taken over that 10th spot for a nice little battle with Unleash IG, who's been spectacular since the start of the race. Jansen able to one-up him as they head into the carousel. So that battle is definitely over with as we speak. But let's hop on with ESV Breeze and see how close. Yem's really reeling him in, and it's coming to it. Can Yem get to him with a few laps to go? I mean, he's making it happen. He's trying super hard. He's charging through the field. He is doing everything he can right now to get to Breeze, the battle for that 6th overall spot. We'll come back to these guys in a little bit. Let's hop back on to 3rd place driver, THR Lightning, who's still in front of Jim Supra, who has not lost any ground on him. But we talked about a little bit ago, it looks like Toys starting to catch up to ESV Scottson a little by little. Not very significant, I know that. Do have a lap down, well, future lap down car if he gets to Yuna here. Yuna's not having the best races. And we haven't seen a lot of lap down cars this year, ladies and gentlemen. The field's been very competitive, very quick for the most part. And I wonder if that's what happened. And Yuna had to make that pit stop, and it was right around the time that Remix had dropped out. I wonder if they had a hiccup between each other, and Remix might have been too damaged to get the car to the pit road. And obviously these guys are race as hard as they can to try to get as many points as they can. And if Yuna, I'm not sure if Yuna's missed more than one race this season or not, but he should still be in eligibility as well if he can make it into the top 16 by the end of the season. White flag next time around, and Yuna dips out completely to let these guys on by, as Lightning and Supra are still duking it out for the 3rd spot. And this is a big blow if Supra can't make something happen here, because he's currently in 4th. Now, I wouldn't say it's a huge blow, but it's a blow because if Scottson can pick up the win today, not only did he get him in qualifying, but those extra bonus points, you know, those things matter. And when 1st and 2nd are about 5 points, 5-10 points between each other, you know, that gap between the 6-point gap between Supra, who's currently the points leader heading into today's race, you know, it's going to flop here real soon. So obviously right now Supra's trying to make something happen against Lightning. Those Lightning's just pretty much running a consistent race right now. Hasn't done anything crazy, but they have caught back up to FRF Toys, who's was super patient earlier and waited for the mistakes to happen, as we talked about. He has slowly gained on Scottson, and actually they're all 4 with each other again. So here we go into one more lap. And SSR Bobbers, no, I'm sorry, that's FRU. I forgot he's left out, but there's Bobbers right behind him. They're duking it out. Check on Breeze and Yem. It looks like Yem made a mistake. He was a little bit closer than that. And we hop on with Scottson as they come around the final corner. White flag this time by. And Scottson looking to hang on one more time. Toys hard charging, trying to make something happen. Lightning, Supra duking it out, but still gaining on Toys. Unleashed repasses Jansen for the 10th spot. So they're duking it out back there. One last time through the carousel. Scottson not making a mistake. A few turns to go. And what a story it's been for Scottson this season. Started off the year extremely rough. Wasn't happy with his first few performances. Had a disappointing result at Dubai that cost him the win. Last week, it was his day to shine, and he will come around the final corner to go back-to-back weeks as he takes week number 10 here at Road America. Congratulations to ESV Scottson. 2nd will be FRF Toys. 3rd will be Lightning. 4th will be Supra. 5th will be SSR Bobberts, and a big day for Bobberts. One of his best results on the year, that's for sure. ESV Breeze hangs on as a hard-charging LMPM comes across the line. Yuna goes into the pits. Pariah IG fends off SSR Shane for 8th. 9th will be Shane. 10th, Jansen still duking it with Unleashed, but Unleashed loses the spot. RD Jansen is going to come up to the line to finish 10th. 11th will be Unleashed. Further back in 12th, LMPM, or Amoeba, I'm sorry. He will rebound from after what was kind of a rocky race for him. FLA Feedy will finish 13th, 14th. EMS Huracan didn't really seem like he had a lot of problems today, just not the result he probably was looking for. Naja Herbie, he will come across the line 15th. 16th will be FLA Red One. 17th, Mex Zaterra. B Shadow, who was progressing throughout the race, will finish 18th. Wait a minute. Yeah, 19th Diamond Man. 20th Jamster. Yep, 20th will be Jamster. And Claudio will come around the final corner to finish 21st, and 22 out of the 23 cars will finish on the final lap today. Great day for racing, as we didn't lose any drivers after that, so that's great to see. Yuna just looking to finish his final lap after a disappointing day for him. Obviously, he knew that he wasn't going to make it on fuel, had to make a pit stop to finish the final lap of the race. And just here in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we will have post-race interviews coming up next. We'll talk to the top 5 finishers to today's race, the race winner overall, and getting their ideas going forward into the final few weeks, as a big day for ESV Scots, and once again we'll finish first 2 weeks in a row. So just stay tuned, and we'll get the top 5 drivers here coming up next, as Yuna just needs to finish his final lap. And the only reason why I'm sitting on this before I'm getting them in here, ladies and gentlemen, is because Forza has glitches and stupid stuff, and sometimes I will leave the race and I won't get the results that we need. So that is what we are doing, and we will get that taken care of here in just a moment. So here comes Yuna around the final corner, and he will finish 22nd overall of today's race. R8 Remix will finish 23rd, and that'll wrap it up for week number 6 here at Road America. Stay tuned, as we will get the top 5 drivers in here next to talk about their race here today. And that's a wrap for week number 6. Here is the final race results. We will obviously have to make sure that we get the correct results, just in case if Forza made any strange changes. And we do have the final results now. So let's get the drivers in here. And we are going to have them talk about their race today. And the only other one we have left is Lightning.
Lightning isn't joining.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just talk about his race. That's no big deal. And okay, so we have toys in here too.
Hello.
Alright, so we got Scots and Toys, Bobberts, and Supra. Alright, so we got the top 4 or 5 in here, and we're going to start with 5th place overall finisher today, SSR Bobberts. And Bobberts, what a good run it was for you today. One of your best finishes. Actually, I believe this is your best finish on the season. 5th overall, and obviously you guys make sure your audio's on. But Bobberts, a little tough racing earlier on between you and Breeze. You guys were duking it out. Obviously, there was a few other guys in the first handful of laps, but then it was just you and Breeze by yourselves for quite a bit of time. And you were able to distance yourself from Breeze. What was the difference, and how were you able to make that gap happen?
The pit stop helped, because I noticed that I gained about 6/10 on him during the pits, and I know some of the people are probably going to say the same thing later on, but also because we literally couldn't stay on each other's slipstream. It helped us initially. We were just staying with the guys at the front and pulling away from those behind. But then when I broke that gap and kind of on my own, I just ran my own race in the second half. I did run some similar lap times to the guys in front, but they have the consistency, which I don't have yet. So that's why they are the aliens in the top 4, and then there's just the rest of us.
Well, there was a moment in the race, Bobberts, where you were actually gaining on the top 4 when they were all together battling, and it seemed like you were getting a little bit closer and closer. Nothing significant, but did you feel at some point in the races you're like, maybe I can get to them if they keep duking it out?
Well, I think at one point I did get under 3 seconds, but then they settled down, and Super and Lightning started to help each other using the toe. And when you got the toe on those straights, it really does help out when you've got somebody helping you along. So I know at that point when he stopped doing that. So I think.
And we did see a lot of that. I mean, you talk about, working together on them straights. There's a lot of moments where we saw Super and Toys when they were battling with Lightning on the front stretch, and Super got to the rear end. He was just pushing Toys further and further. So there are moments where, if you didn't have that guy with you on those straights, it could have affected you. But overall, today, Bobbers. You have to be happy with the result. It's your best finish on the year, and obviously you've been slowly progressing in these cars that, you know, even though you ran a different type of prototype back in the Proto Orca Challenge, these are a little different, and obviously something that you're trying to get used to as the season progresses.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, pros is not really a class that I do. You know, as you said, this is only the second time I've really even touched the protos. So it's just a learning curve, you know, going into the end of this game, into the start of the new game, maybe, you know, whenever the hell that's going to come out. But yeah, the target was to stay 5th, and I did that. So, and congrats to the top 4 and Scott on his win.
Well, congratulations, Bobbers, on a great finish today. Obviously, there's still a few weeks remaining. We're going to look forward to seeing how you progress as the season comes down to the wire.
Thank you.
And 4th overall, Jim Supra. And Supra, welcome back once again. Obviously, I believe this is probably your first worst finish on the year. I believe everything else was like 2nd or 3rd. But today, Supra, and I might be wrong. I know Nürburgring was kind of a little bit of a wild finish, but overall today, Supra, it was a tough race. You and Lightning duked it out for the longest time. There was moments where the front 4 you guys, it could have been anybody's race, but once Scottson and Lightning made that little hiccup about midpoint of the race, a little over midpoint of the race, it looked like Toys and you were able to try to catch up to them. You got to the battle, you got around briefly, and then Lightning got it back, and then you guys got like into each other, I believe, at one point, and that got Toys in front of you, and then ever since it was basically you against Lightning. How tough was the racing today for you?
I mean, I think it was tough for everybody. Yeah, we were all really close, and we were all quite aggressive, to be fair. We all wanted to just get ahead because it's so impossible to pass on this track with this car, especially. The toe helps, but you get such a boost. The person in front gets an insane boost when the person behind is pushing them, so
Right.
it is very difficult to pass, so we did get quite aggressive, all of us, I will admit. I was working with Toys at the start, as you said, and I was working with Lightning towards the end, and we were getting an insane amount of time on Scott. If there was, I don't know, 3 more laps, I think the ending could have been very, very different.
And obviously, with the gap that Scottson was able to put on because of the battles of the race, kind of spread you guys out because of little hiccups here and there. You know, obviously, like you said, at the very end, who knows what could have happened if the 4 of you all were there. But, you know, the moment of the race that was really significant was when you and Lightning were battling it. And honestly, amongst the 4 of you, Toys was extremely patient throughout that race. He sat in 4th for the longest time. And then when you and Lightning made that little hiccup, Toys was able to get through, and obviously that seemed to be a big turning point. But then when you and Lightning started to regain, it looked like you chose to go with Toys to make sure that Toys cleared Lightning there about near the end, mid-pack of the race. Would I be correct on that?
Yeah, I just stayed to the left. Lightning had a worse run, so I just stayed behind Toys.
Well, you know, overall, 4th isn't a bad finish for you. Obviously, between you and Scottson, the points battle is really close, and I'm sure this isn't the result you wanted to have today, but obviously it's not the worst result. So obviously going forward, we know you're going to push like you always do, Super, but congratulations on a top 5 finish and battling as hard as you do against some of the best drivers in the series right now.
Thank you, man.
And that's Jim Supra, 4th overall, ladies and gentlemen, into today's race. 3rd overall, not with us right now, THR Lightning. Started on the pole, fell back almost as far as 4th early on, was able to get back up to the front, but as the race had panned out, was kind of stuck back there in 3rd, duking it out with Supra, and then ended up finishing 3rd overall. So congratulations to Lightning on a top 3 finish, and we'll be obviously seeing him in the weeks to come. But moving up that list, F4F Toys and Toys. Well, you know, since week number 1, you've definitely gotten better. We know that week 1 with the disconnect, and then week 2 you struggled a little bit at Catalunya. It wasn't your best result. Ever since those 2 races, you've been doing very, very good, very consistent, and you've been very patient a lot in these races. We talked about it weeks prior. Actually, I believe we talked about it last week. And it seemed like today you were doing the same thing. You were staying real patient. You didn't let your aggressiveness, you know, come out too much. And then when the mistakes happen, you capitalized on it. I mean, how is it so easy for you to be so patient behind these guys throughout the race as long as you do?
So I have never raced before this series with these guys, and they are super fast. So like I need to study how to race and how they race, because it's very different from Brazil, where everyone know each other and know their style, you know.
Right, and obviously, when you're not racing with people you're used to racing with, you tend to race a little. I feel like someone like myself, if you don't know them as well, you kind of play a little bit more careful than you do when you race with somebody you know, because you know what they're going to do more than likely. Is that some of the reasons why you are more patient in this series than maybe your colleagues that you're normally running with?
Yeah, exactly this.
And with a couple laps to go there, you were able to gain on Scots. And do you think you could have had a shot at it if there was like another lap or two by the end of that race?
Yeah, definitely. On the last 8 laps, I believe, I managed to get like a second and a half down from him. So I was in the last lap already on his draft, and with the Lightning and Supra coming, definitely the last 3 laps would be, if it had like 3 more laps, it would be like insane laps.
Well, overall, Toys, congratulations on a second overall finish. It's a very good. It's been very good for you since week number 2, and obviously, I'm sure you're looking to continue that momentum going into week number 7 and the rest of the season. But congratulations on a great result today.
Thank you.
And the race winner, back-to-back weeks, the man himself, ESV Scotson, defending champion. And Scotson, congratulations on another win 2 weeks in a row. And you've had to earn it each time. And ever since Dubai, I feel like the fire has been put underneath you a little bit, and you haven't let that go. Is that fair to say?
Maybe Nerve GP. That's how it started.
Obviously, obviously the first couple of weeks you were very disappointed with the way that you were driving. It seemed like you were very unconfident with yourself, and we talked about that. But these last 3-4 weeks, you've been really going at it, and you've definitely been a lot more consistent. And we talked about momentum. Has the momentum been there for you? Are you feeling like there's a lot of momentum behind you each and every week now?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, in the first 2 weeks I made quite a few changes to the car and the sort of general setup of it, and it feels a lot more consistent now than it did in the first 2 weeks. But as for the race there, obviously I got a bit lucky when all 3 of them started fighting it, and then I was pulled quite a big gap on them, but last sort of 8 laps or something, it was quite a lot of pressure seeing them closing in like that with the drift and stuff. Yeah, the pressure was starting to build on me. I was really focusing, trying not to make any mistakes.
And it's great that you say that, because so many people wonder, like guys like you, Lightning, Toys, Supra, guys who are just so good at what you do. People are always like, oh, so much pressure, and it just shows that there's pressure for you guys as well. It's not always, we get on the track, we run, that's my race, and that pressure built on. And I mean, when you saw them catching up to you late, did you think you had enough distance, enough gap there? Because for a while there in that race, before you had the gap, you had Lightning, you had Supra all over you. And until you got that gap, it could have been anybody's race. Did you feel like at the end of that race you might not have had the car to fend off these guys?
I didn't actually feel like I had them winning the bag until the exit of the chicane. I really feel like the pace they were going at, I felt like on the final lap I could have been caught anywhere between the start line and the chicane. Once I came at the chicane, I was pretty confident I was going to get the win.
And you had a very scary moment in the race, and I know there was a pit cycle little conspiracy there where those 3 came out, and it looked like for a minute there you had no idea where to go. And they ended up coming out, and Toys got in front. It looked like Toys dipped off to go back in line, so that the way they went in was the way they came out. But in that moment, what was going through your mind? Because it just seemed like there was no place for you to go, and when you were getting to them, it looked like you were not planning on stopping.
Yeah, I didn't realise how close all 3 of them were coming out of the pits. I did see a little gap in between the cars, and fortunately I was just like, well, I'm just gonna send it in here. And
it looked like for a moment you were gonna dip right, and then you decided to stay left.
Yeah, I think I don't know what they were doing. I think they were trying to get back into order, but just
Yeah,
like that, it was like timetable for this.
on pits, I passed them somehow on pits, so when I left the pits, I let them pass to like not
And
having
that's what it
advantage.
looked like. Yeah, and that's what it looked like from our point of view. I mean, it was definitely a crazy moment there, but you guys made it happen, and obviously, as the race progressed, the rest spoke for itself. But Scottson, two wins in a row. That with the field that you're competing in, that's tough to do. And I believe that you're probably pretty happy about that. Obviously, the racing is not done yet. There's still about 4 weeks to go. Weeks 7, 8, 9, and 10. Obviously, you and Super are duking it out right now for the overall points at the end of the season. Because obviously, after week 10, whoever has the most points overall will get that bonus money. But now that you've won today, and not only did you win, you also had better qualifying, so you got that extra point than Supra. You're going to have a little bit of a gap again. But what is it going to take for you? Not really going for week 10, but to close out for the bonus at the end of the season. What's it going to take for you to beat Supra? Because Supra's obviously a very good driver and very good at contending, and he shows that he's very consistent as well this season.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot, I mean, sure anyone who's watching knows what Supra's capable of now these days, so yeah, it's just to try and focus on my driving and make any mistakes and just, keep fighting at the front.
Well, congratulations, Scottson, once again on the race win. We're looking forward to seeing how that battle between you and Supra overall in the points goes down. But obviously, for everyone that's watching, it's a big day for some of these drivers in the mid-pack. Obviously, some of the drivers missing their first race on the season due to other events going on, and obviously we have no control of that. But what a great race it was today. We had 23 drivers start the field, 22 finished overall. Again, I'm SSR Mayhem. Thank you for watching. As the top 5 results are in front of you, with Scottson, your race winner. Toys will finish 2nd overall. 3rd, Lightning. 4th, Jim Supra. And rounding out your top 5, Bobberts. That is this week's final results as we head to next week. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time here at MEA. Thank you all, and good night.